The energy wall shimmered into existence like a curtain of frozen lightning across the edge of the solar system. Rolf gripped the controls of his cargo hauler and watched humanity's home disappear behind the barrier. He had been making supply runs to Earth's orbital factories for 3 years. Now those factories would sit silent and empty. The vote had passed in the Galactic Coalition chambers just 6 hours ago. 43 species agreed. Only 2 voted against the quarantine. Earth never got a vote at all. Rolf remembered the words of the Coalition speaker, a tall being named Tilrose with 4 arms and skin like polished stone. Humanity had spread too fast, built too many weapons, won too many conflicts. They needed time to mature, he said, time to understand that the galaxy preferred peace. The barrier stations hummed with power as they locked into position. 12 massive platforms formed a perfect sphere around humanity's star. Nothing could get in. Nothing could get out. The Coalition engineers promised it would hold for centuries. Anne Brooks appeared on every screen in Rolf's ship. Earth's chief diplomat stood in what looked like her office, but Rolf could see the tension in her shoulders. She wore a simple gray suit and her dark hair was pulled back tight. To every human watching from beyond the barrier, Anne said, her voice steady as steel. This is not goodbye. This is not surrender. The Coalition believes they have caged a dangerous animal. They will learn they have created something far worse, a patient one. Rolf saw dozens of human ships trying to reach the barrier. Families screamed for their loved ones on Earth. Children pressed against viewports, calling for parents who could not hear them. The Coalition security forces held them back with energy shields and stern warnings. You think you know us, Anne continued. You have seen us fight, you have seen us win, but you have never seen us prepare, you have never seen us plan, you have never seen us wait. Tilrose appeared on a different channel, his 4 hands clasped in what his species considered a gesture of regret. We do this with heavy hearts, he said, but the safety of the galaxy requires difficult choices. Humanity will thank us when they emerge, calmer and wiser in a few generations. Anne's smile was cold. Ambassador Tilrose, members of the Coalition, you are not locking us in, you are locking yourselves out. Remember that. The transmission cut. Earth went dark on every sensor. No radio, no signals, no light except the natural glow of their sun. The barrier absorbed everything. Admiral Hayes sent one final message before the wall completed its seal. He was an old soldier with gray hair and scars from a dozen wars. To all Coalition forces monitoring this transmission, we will remember every face, every name, every ship that enforced this quarantine, not as enemies, but as motivation. The barrier snapped shut with a pulse of blue light that rippled across space. Rolf felt it in his bones even through the shields of his ship. The human vessels stopped fighting. They just floated there, watching their homeworld vanish behind an impenetrable wall. A Coalition patrol officer named Bryn contacted Rolf's ship. You are clear to depart. Earth sector is now restricted space. Violation will result in immediate detention. Rolf set course for the nearest trade station. Around him, other ships did the same. Human ships, alien ships, everyone leaving Earth behind like it was already a grave. At the trade station, people celebrated. The dangerous humans were contained. The galaxy could breathe easier. Rolf sat in a bar and listened to species after species praise the quarantine. They called it wisdom. They called it mercy. Only one other person seemed troubled. A young Coalition scientist named Vera sat alone, staring at data on a handheld screen. Rolf recognized the readings, energy signatures from the barrier stations. Something wrong? He asked. Vera looked up. She had 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on her face and skin that shifted colors with her emotions. Right now it was a worried purple. The barrier is stable, almost too stable, like something on the inside is helping it stay strong. Maybe the humans accepted their fate, Rolf suggested. Maybe, Vera said, but she did not sound convinced. Years passed, 5, then 10, then 20. The galaxy moved forward, new trade routes opened. New alliances formed. Wars still broke out between species, but the coalition managed them with diplomacy and occasional force. They forgot about Earth, forgot about the quarantined humans behind their wall. Rolf kept flying his routes. He got older, his scales dulled, his reflexes slowed. But he always checked the long-range sensors when he passed near Earth sector. The barrier still glowed, still hummed with power. At year 47, Barrier Station 7 reported unusual readings. Power fluctuations, nothing serious, probably just aging equipment. The coalition sent a maintenance team. They found nothing wrong. At year 49, Station 4 went silent for 6 hours. When it came back online, the crew reported strange shadows moving in the asteroid belt. Deep scans showed nothing. They blamed it on stress and isolation. At year 50, all 12 stations began losing power at exactly the same moment. Engineers scrambled to find the cause. The barrier flickered, just once, just for a second. Then it failed completely. The wall of energy dissolved like mist in sunlight. For the first time in half a century, Earth's solar system opened to the galaxy. Coalition command centers erupted in chaos. Alarms screamed. Officers shouted orders. Emergency fleets scrambled to respond. But nothing came out of the solar system. No ships, no signals, no attacks, just silence, deep and complete and somehow more terrifying than any weapon. Tilrose was ancient now, his stone skin cracked with age. He stood in the coalition chambers and stared at the empty space where the barrier had been. "Send reconnaissance ships," he ordered. "We need to know what happened to them." Rolf volunteered for the mission. He was old too and tired, but he wanted to see, needed to see. What had humanity become after 50 years alone in the dark? Reconnaissance Fleet Gamma 9 crossed into what used to be forbidden space. 16 ships from 8 different species, all equipped with the best sensors the coalition could provide. Rolf piloted his old hauler at the back of the formation, watching and recording everything. Commander Vorton led the fleet from his flagship. He was young for a commander, born 10 years after the quarantine began. To him, Earth was just a story, a legend about dangerous primitives who needed to be locked away. "Approaching former barrier perimeter," the sensor officer reported. "No contacts, no signals, system appears dead." Vorton leaned back in his command chair. "Proceed with caution, map everything. I want to know what happened to them." The fleet moved deeper into the solar system, past where the outer planets should have been monitoring stations, past where human ships once patrolled, nothing but empty space and distant stars. Then the sensors started picking up anomalies, huge ones. "Sir," the officer called out, her voice rising, "I am detecting massive structures on the third planet's moon and the fourth planet and throughout the asteroid belt, or where the asteroid belt used to be." The view screen shifted to show Earth's moon. Its surface was covered in geometric patterns that gleamed like metal. Defense platforms the size of cities, rail guns that could crack a planet, energy collectors that drank sunlight like water. "By the Founders," Vorton whispered. Mars glowed red in the distance, but it was not the dead world from the old records. Atmosphere wrapped around it thick and breathable. Lights dotted its surface in grid patterns. Massive structures rose from the ground like steel mountains. "The fourth planet has been completely terraformed," the science officer reported. "Breathable atmosphere, liquid water detected, population centers. This should be impossible. It takes thousands of years." "They had 50, Rolf said quietly over the comm channel. The asteroid belt was gone, not scattered, not moved. Gone, processed into raw materials. In its place floated hundreds of structures that looked like shipyards. Each one could build vessels larger than any coalition dreadnought. Jupiter's moons bristled with weapons. Saturn wore a new ring made entirely of defense platforms, each one tracking the coalition fleet with perfect precision. Every ice moon, every distant rock, every piece of cosmic dust had been turned into something useful. "I count over 6,000 military installations," the tactical officer said. And those are just the ones our sensors can detect. Power readings suggest thousands more underground or shielded. Vorton's confidence drained from his face. Where are their ships? There must be ships. Nothing on scopes, sir, just the stations, all of them active, all of them armed. Then lights began turning on, not all at once, slowly, deliberately, like something waking up after a long sleep. The moon installations lit first, then Mars, then the asteroid facilities, then Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune. Every human structure in the solar system came alive within 60 seconds. The comm channels exploded with a single transmission. It reached every ship in the fleet simultaneously. "Hello again." The voice was female, young, calm. "We've been expecting you." Vorton sat up straight. "This is Coalition Commander Vorton. Identify yourself." "I am Captain Diana Worth of the Earth Defense Force. You may not know that name. You may not know any of our names. We've been gone a long time." A pause. "But we remember all of yours." Rolf felt ice creep down his spine. That voice held no anger, no hatred, just cold certainty. "You locked us away to keep the galaxy safe from us," Diana continued. "Shall we discuss what you've made us become?" Every tactical display in the fleet turned red. Targeting locks, thousands of them. Every coalition ship had dozens of weapons aimed at it from multiple angles. Perfect firing solutions, no escape routes. "Stand down," Vorton shouted. "We are a peaceful reconnaissance mission." "We know exactly what you are," Diana said. "We have been watching you for 50 years, listening, learning, planning. Did you think the barrier kept everything out? It just kept our signals in. But sensors work both ways, Commander." A new voice cut into the channel. Older, steady. "This is General Kofi Mensa, Earth Defense Command. We monitored 17 wars during our isolation, 12 species extinctions, 43 territorial disputes. The Coalition failed to stop any of them." Vorton looked at his tactical officer. "Can we fight our way out?" The officer checked her screens and went pale. "No, sir. We are in a perfect kill box. They could destroy the entire fleet in under 30 seconds. "We could," Diana agreed, and Vorton realized she could hear everything they said. "But we won't. You came to see what happened to us. Look around. You have your answer." The view screen shifted again, this time showing Earth itself. The blue planet hung in space unchanged. Still beautiful, still home to billions. But around it floated a defensive network so dense it looked like a metal shell. "We unified," Diana said. "Every nation, every culture, every human put aside our differences because you gave us a common purpose. Survive, prepare, remember." An old voice crackled over the channel. Rolf recognized it immediately. "Ambassador Tilrose, I am Admiral Hayes. We spoke 50 years ago. You told me this was for our own good, that we would thank you. I am 112 years old now. I stayed alive specifically to see this day." Tilrose appeared on screen from the Coalition Command Center, his stone skin deeply cracked with age. "Admiral, we thought we were preventing a war." "You were," Hayes replied. "You just did not realize you were preventing us from fighting your wars for." But we are patient. We can fix that now." Diana's voice returned. "We are sending you navigation coordinates. Follow them. You will exit our territory safely. Return to the Coalition. Tell them Earth is no longer quarantined. Tell them we are coming to the negotiation table. And tell them we have terms." "Terms?" Vorton asked. "We will discuss them with the full Coalition Council, not with a reconnaissance fleet. You have 1 hour to leave our space. After that, we will consider you hostile." The targeting locks remained active. A countdown appeared on every Coalition screen. 60 minutes, 59, 58. Vorton made the only choice he could. All ships follow the provided coordinates, maximum speed. The fleet turned and ran. Behind them, the human installations watched in silence, not pursuing, not firing, just watching. Rolf looked back at Earth one last time, something launched from the lunar surface. A single ship, sleek, dark, moving faster than anything he had ever seen. It accelerated past the fleeing Coalition fleet like they were standing still. On its hull, painted in letters that glowed with their own light, were two words: Ares Rising. The god of war was awake, and he was coming to the negotiation table. The Grand Coalition Chamber held representatives from 47 species. Most had never seen a human before. The older ones remembered the quarantine vote. They remembered thinking they had solved a problem. Now they sat in their designated sections and waited. The chamber itself was a marvel of architecture, built to accommodate every type of being in the coalition. Aquatic species had sealed water tanks. Methane breathers wore environmental suits. Silicon-based life forms sat on thermal pads. Tilrose stood at the central podium. His four arms trembled slightly. Age had weakened him, but his mind remained sharp. We are here to address the situation with Earth. The quarantine has ended. They have requested an audience. I propose we listen. Listen, a representative named Grath stood up. His species resembled armored insects and spoke through clicking mandibles. They have built a war machine in our backyard. We should re-establish the barrier immediately. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Fear did that, made people seek simple solutions to complex problems. The barrier failed, Tilrose reminded them. They drained it from the inside, they studied it for 50 years. Do you think we can simply rebuild it and expect different results? The chamber doors opened. 5 humans walked in wearing simple black uniforms with no visible weapons. They moved with quiet confidence, their footsteps silent on the polished floor. Security scanners beeped and failed to find anything threatening. Diana Worth led the group. She was young, probably born during the quarantine, with dark skin and eyes that had seen too much. Behind her walked General Mensa, old but unbowed, and 3 senior advisors whose names the Coalition did not yet know. Members of the Coalition, Diana began without preamble. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting. We have much to discuss. Grath clicked angrily. You dare thank us, after building weapons capable of destroying this entire station. Diana turned to face him. We have not destroyed anything. We have not threatened anyone. We asked for a meeting. You agreed. That is how diplomacy works. Diplomacy? Another representative stood. This one was Vera, the scientist Rolf had met decades ago. She was older now, her 3 eyes dimmed with age but still sharp with curiosity. You turned your entire solar system into a fortress. That is not diplomacy. That is preparation for war. Yes, Diana agreed simply. It is. Shall we discuss why? She activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. Images appeared. Battles, destruction, entire planets burning. During our 50-year isolation, we monitored everything we could. The barrier blocked our signals from leaving, but we could still receive yours. We watched 17 wars. Some lasted months, some lasted years, some are still ongoing. The images shifted. Species the Coalition recognized, some extinct now. The Renthal were wiped out in year 12. The Vothan genocide happened in year 23. The Crimson Sun's conflict has been burning for 18 years. The Coalition has failed to stop any of it. Tilrose bowed his head. We have tried. Diplomacy takes time. Sanctions take time. Building consensus takes time. Children do not have time, Mensa said, his old voice carrying across the silent chamber. When soldiers come to burn their homes, they cannot wait for the Coalition to build consensus. Diana changed the display again. This time it showed Coalition response times, votes, debates, committees formed and dissolved. The Renthal called for help. 83 times before they were exterminated. The Coalition voted to send aid, then voted on what kind of aid, then formed a committee to determine how to deliver it. By the time you decided, there was no one left to help. The chamber erupted in protests. Representatives shouted denials. Others demanded evidence. Diana waited for the noise to die down. We are not here to shame you, she said. We are here to offer a solution. You feared we would bring war to the stars. You were right to fear us, but you already have war. You just have no one skilled enough to end it. And you are? Vera asked. Diana nodded. We are. War is what we do. It is what we have always done. On Earth, we fought each other for thousands of years. We learned every possible way to kill, every strategy, every tactic. We became experts in violence because we had no choice. Then you locked us away with nothing but time to refine those skills." She gestured to the display. "We propose this. Earth Defense Force becomes the Coalition's rapid response peacekeeping authority. When species attack each other, we intervene. Not to conquer, not to choose sides, to stop the killing." Grath laughed, a harsh clicking sound. "You expect us to give you license to attack anyone you want?" "No," Mensa said firmly. "We expect you to give us license to protect anyone who needs it. There is a difference. We will not govern, we will not occupy, we will not impose our will. We will stop genocides, we will end wars, we will prevent extinctions, then we will leave." Another representative stood. His name was Orin, and his species resembled aquatic mammals. His voice came through a translator. "Why should we trust you? You could use this authority to build an empire." Diana met his gaze. "Because we do not want one. We spent 50 years building weapons because you forced us to. We would rather build gardens. But the galaxy needs someone willing to do what you cannot, someone willing to act fast, someone willing to make hard choices." "You mean willing to kill?" Grath said. "If necessary," Diana admitted. "But we would rather disable, capture, neutralize. Death is easy. Ending a war without creating martyrs is hard. We are very good at hard things." Tilrose raised one hand for silence. "You speak of intervention, of stopping wars, but who decides when to intervene? Who decides what constitutes genocide versus legitimate conflict?" "You do," Diana said. "The Coalition Council, you vote, we act. The difference is we act immediately. No committees, no delays. You point us at a crisis and we end it. Then we submit full reports for your review. If you disagree with our methods, you vote to restrict us. We accept oversight. We just do not accept inaction." The chamber fell silent. Representatives looked at each other. Some seemed intrigued. Most seemed terrified. Diana pulled up another display. 3 days ago, the rendered species sent a distress call. The Kron hegemony is systematically exterminating them. The Coalition has known for 6 months. You have done nothing. She let that hang in the air. "We leave tomorrow to stop it. Join us, observe, judge our methods, then decide if you trust us." Tilrose looked at Diana for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. "If we refuse." "Then we go anyway," Diana said quietly. "Because children are dying, and we remember what it feels like to be abandoned by the galaxy." 6 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the rendered homeworld system. They were sleek vessels, dark metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Each one bristled with weapons the Coalition had never seen in action. 40 Kron vessels surrounded the planet below. They were blockading escape routes and bombarding population centers. On the surface, cities burned. Millions had already died. Rolf watched from his observation ship positioned safely behind the human fleet. The Coalition had sent him and 20 other observers to witness Earth's first intervention. Vera sat beside him, all 3 of her eyes fixed on the tactical displays. "They are outnumbered nearly 7 to 1, she said. "This is madness." Diana's voice came over the open channel, broadcasting to every ship in the system. "This is Captain Diana Worth of Earth Defense Force. Kron vessels, you are engaged in illegal genocide. You have one chance to withdraw peacefully. Power down your weapons and leave this system. You will not get a second warning." The Kron commander responded immediately. His species resembled reptilian centaurs with 4 legs and 2 arms ending in clawed hands. "Primitives, you were locked away for good reason. Go back to your cage before we send you there in pieces." "Last chance," Diana said calmly. The Kron fleet opened fire. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the human ships. Rolf expected to see them scatter or activate shields. Instead, they moved. The human vessels accelerated with impossible speed, their movements precise and coordinated. They did not dodge randomly. They moved exactly where the enemy fire would not be, like they knew where every shot would go before it was fired. "How are they doing that?" Vera whispered. The human ships split into three groups. Two flanked the Kron formation while one drove straight through the middle. Weapons fire erupted from all sides, but not the energy beams or missiles the Coalition used. Solid projectiles, thousands of them, tiny pieces of metal accelerated to significant fractions of light speed. They punched through Kron's shields like they were not there, but instead of destroying the ships, they hit critical systems, weapons offline, engines offline, communications offline. Kinetic accelerators, Rolf breathed. Simple physics, no energy signature to track or block. Within 3 minutes, half the Kron fleet was disabled, dead in space but intact, crews alive but helpless. The remaining Kron ships tried to regroup. Their commander screamed orders, attempting to coordinate a defense. The human ships released something new, small objects that looked like metallic insects. They swarmed across the battlefield in clouds of thousands. Drones, Vera identified, autonomous weapons. The drones attached themselves to Kron vessels and began broadcasting electromagnetic pulses. Lights died. Systems crashed. Entire warships went dark. The Kron crews could do nothing but wait in their disabled vessels. The last group of Kron ships tried to run. They turned toward the system's edge, engines burning at maximum power. The human ships did not chase them. They simply calculated firing solutions and launched more kinetic rounds. Perfect shots, every single one. They did not destroy the fleeing ships. They disabled their engines, left them drifting but alive. 12 minutes after the battle started, it was over. 40 Kron vessels floated helpless in space. Not one was destroyed. Not one crew was killed. The human ships had not suffered a single hit. Rolf checked his instruments 3 times to make sure they were working correctly. Impossible. That level of precision should be impossible. Diana's voice returned to the channel. Kron fleet, your vessels are disabled. Your crews are unharmed. Remain in your ships. Any attempt to activate weapons or harm your prisoners will be met with immediate lethal response. Understand that we showed you mercy. We will not show it twice. Then she broadcast to the Kron homeworld. Kron Command, your invasion fleet has been neutralized. All ships and crews are intact. You have 1 week to retrieve them. After that, we will tow them to Coalition space as evidence of your crimes. If you attempt another attack on the rendered, the response will be different. There will be no survivors, no second chances. This is your only warning. The human ships moved into orbit around the rendered homeworld. Landing craft descended to the surface. Rolf watched the feeds from ground observers. Rendered civilians emerged from shelters, staring up at the strange ships that had saved them. Human soldiers deployed in coordinated teams. They carried medical supplies, food, water purification systems. They moved through the devastated cities offering help, not conquest. A young rendered child approached one of the humans. The species resembled bipedal herbivores with long ears and soft fur. The child held out a flower, one of the few things that had survived the bombardment. The human soldier knelt down. Rolf could see the name patch on her uniform, Rodriguez. She accepted the flower carefully and said something the translators could not quite catch, but her smile was clear enough. Diana coordinated the relief efforts from her command ship. General Mensa appeared on screen beside her, watching from Earth. "Clean operation," he said. "No casualties, full objective achieved." "The easy part is done," Diana replied. "Now comes the hard part, rebuilding trust." Vera turned to Rolf. "They are not conquerors. They really meant what they said." Rolf nodded slowly. "They are not here to rule. They are here to stop the bleeding. Then they will leave." Over the next few hours, the human teams worked alongside rendered survivors. They cleared rubble, treated wounded, restored power to damaged districts. They did not claim territory, did not raise flags. They just helped. The Coalition observers documented everything. Every action, every decision, every conversation between humans and rendered civilians. Diana called a meeting with rendered leadership. Their government had been bombed into chaos, but a council of survivors gathered to speak with her. She stood before them in her simple black uniform. "We came because we heard your distress call," Diana said. "The Coalition did not act fast enough. We did. Your world is safe now. The Kron will not return, but we cannot stay forever. You need to rebuild. We will help you start. Then we will leave you to finish." The rendered council leader was an elderly female named Petha. Her fur was streaked with gray and one of her ears had been badly burned. Why help us? We have nothing to offer you. No resources, no territory, no political advantage." Diana looked at her steadily. "Because children should not have to watch their parents burn, because no species should face extinction, because we were abandoned once and we remember how that felt, that is reason enough." Petha started crying. So did several other council members. They thanked the humans over and over. Diana accepted their gratitude but did not linger on it. There was too much work to do. Rolf compiled his report for the Coalition. He included every detail: the precision of the attack, the restraint shown, the mercy given, the reconstruction efforts. "What do you conclude?" Vera asked him. Rolf looked at the data one more time. "I conclude that Earth is not the species we quarantined 50 years ago. They are something new, something we made, and the galaxy is going to have to decide if that terrifies us or gives us hope." Vera checked her instruments. 15 other conflicts have paused. They all received the same message: stop fighting or Earth comes, and Earth does not negotiate. "No," Rolf agreed. "They end wars. That is what they do now. That is what we turned them into." The Coalition Grand Chamber reconvened 3 weeks after the rendered intervention. Every seat was filled. Every species sent representatives. Even those who normally skipped sessions came to hear the verdict on humanity's actions. Rolf stood at the witness podium, preparing to deliver his observations. His scales had dulled with age, but his mind remained sharp. Beside him, 20 other observers waited to give their testimony. Tilrose called the session to order, his 4 arms raised for silence. "We are here to determine whether Earth Defense Force should be granted peacekeeping authority. Observer Rolf will present his findings." Rolf activated the holographic display. "I witnessed the engagement at the rendered homeworld. Earth Defense Force deployed 6 vessels against 40 Kron warships. The battle lasted 12 minutes. All enemy ships were disabled. 0 enemy casualties, 0 human casualties. Precision was absolute." Images played across the display. Kinetic rounds punching through shields, drones swarming disabled vessels, human soldiers distributing aid to survivors. Following the engagement, human forces spent 17 days assisting with reconstruction. They provided medical care, infrastructure repair, and security. Then they departed as promised. No occupation, no territorial claims, no demands for payment or political concessions. Grath stood up, his mandibles clicking in agitation. "They demonstrated military superiority, nothing more. This proves they are dangerous, not trustworthy." Vera rose to respond. "They demonstrated restraint. They could have destroyed the Kron fleet. They chose not to. They could have occupied the rendered homeworld. They chose not to. These are not the actions of conquerors." Another representative joined the debate. Oren, the aquatic being, projected his voice through the translation system. "Since the rendered intervention, 15 ongoing conflicts have ceased hostilities, not because of coalition pressure, because of fear. Is that how we want peace? Through intimidation." Rolf stepped forward. "With respect, those conflicts stopped because both sides realized someone would actually enforce consequences. The Coalition has spent decades issuing sanctions and condemnations. Earth enforces peace. There is a difference." The chamber erupted in arguments. Some species supported Earth's methods, others demanded restrictions. A few called for humanity to be re-quarantined immediately. Tilrose raised his hands again. "We have received formal requests from 3 species asking for Earth intervention in their conflicts: the Vosk Civil War, the Talarin border dispute, the Grenith slave trade." "They ask because they are desperate," Grath protested, "not because they trust humans." Diana Worth entered the chamber at that moment. She had not been summoned, but no one stopped her. She walked to the central floor and faced the assembly. "You are correct," she said to Grath. "They ask because they are desperate, because the Coalition has debated their problems for years while people die. We offer an alternative: act fast, act decisively, stop the killing." "And who decides what constitutes killing worth stopping?" Oren demanded. "What if we disagree with your assessment?" "Then you vote to restrict us," Diana said simply. "We submit reports after every action. You review them, you judge them. If you decide we exceeded our authority, you limit it. We accept oversight. We accept accountability. We just do not accept delay." A new voice spoke up. Petha, the rendered council leader, stood in the visitor section. She had traveled to the Coalition homeworld specifically for this hearing. "I wish to speak." Tilrose nodded. "You may approach." Petha walked to the floor, her burned ear still wrapped in bandages. "My species was dying. We sent 83 requests for aid over 6 months. The Coalition debated, formed committees, discussed options. Meanwhile, our cities burned, our children died. Earth did not debate. They came, they stopped it. They saved us." Her voice cracked with emotion. "You fear what humans might become. I fear what happens if they do nothing. I fear returning to a galaxy where the strong crush the weak and everyone else watches." Silence filled the chamber. Several representatives shifted uncomfortably. Mensa appeared on the main display, broadcasting from Earth. At 112 years old, he had earned the right to speak without traveling. "We understand your fear. For 50 years, we were the galaxy's nightmare, the dangerous species locked away. But you created us. You forced us to become this. Now you can choose what we become next." "Weapons can be aimed," he continued. "Warriors can be given purpose. You can make us your sword, or you can leave us idle. But understand this. We will not watch species die because you are too cautious to act. With or without your blessing, we will end genocides. The only choice you have is whether we do it as your allies or as something you cannot control." The chamber exploded in protests again. Some called it blackmail, others called it honesty. Tilrose struggled to maintain order. Finally, an ancient being stood. Her species were energy-based life forms who rarely involved themselves in Coalition politics. She was called the Luminous, and her appearance at the session shocked everyone into silence. "I have observed the younger species for 3,000 years, she said, her voice like wind through crystals. "I have seen empires rise and fall. I have seen peace achieved through strength and through weakness. The Coalition pursues peace through consensus. This works when all parties act in good faith. It fails when they do not." She turned to look at Diana. "Humanity offers peace through enforcement. This works when the enforcer is just. It fails when they are not. The question is not whether their methods are effective. Clearly they are. The question is whether they will remain just." "We cannot guarantee that," Diana admitted. "No one can. Power corrupts. Authority breeds arrogance. We know this. That is why we accept oversight. That is why we demand you judge us. We are asking you to be our conscience when our own fails." The Luminous seemed to shimmer with something like approval. "An honest answer. Most species claim they will never abuse power. Only a fool or a liar makes such claims." Tilrose called for a vote. "All in favor of granting Earth Defense Force limited peacekeeping authority, subject to Coalition oversight and review." The chamber fell silent as representatives considered. Seconds passed, then minutes. Finally, Vera stood. "I vote in favor. The galaxy needs someone willing to act." Others followed, slowly at first, then faster. Species who had lost members to wars the Coalition failed to stop. Species who had called for help that never came. They voted yes. But not all of them. Grath voted no. Oren abstained. Several others rejected the proposal outright. When the count finished, the result was clear. 31 in favor, 12 against, 4 abstentions. "The motion passes," Tilrose announced. "Earth Defense Force is granted peacekeeping authority with immediate effect. You will submit operational reports after each intervention. You will accept Coalition review and judgment. You will operate within the bounds we establish." Diana nodded. Understood, we will prove ourselves worthy of this trust. See that you do, Tilrose said quietly. Because if you fail, there will be no third chances, no more isolations. The galaxy will find another solution. Diana met his gaze. We will not fail, too many people are counting on us. 5 years passed. Earth Defense Force responded to 43 conflicts during that time. They stopped 12 genocides, ended 26 wars, prevented 9 territorial disputes from becoming massacres. Galactic casualties from armed conflicts dropped 73%. But the cost showed on every human face. Diana stood on the observation deck of the orbital station above Earth, watching her homeworld spin below. She was 31. Now but looked older. Command aged people fast, especially when every decision meant life or death for entire species. Rolf found her there. He was ancient now, his scales faded almost white, but he still flew his routes, still watched, still recorded. I brought the latest reports, he said. Diana took the datapad without looking away from Earth. How bad? The Talaran peacekeeping operation is complete. No casualties. Both sides accepted the ceasefire terms. The Vosk Civil War ended 3 weeks ago. Reconstruction is proceeding. The Greneth slave trade has been dismantled. We found the last trafficking ring yesterday. Good, Diana said, but her voice was flat. Rolf studied her face. You do not sound pleased. Pleased? Diana looked at him. We have become exactly what they needed. Efficient, precise, effective. We stop wars before they start. We end genocides before they spread. We are very good at our job. But, Rolf prompted, but we are not good at anything else anymore. She gestured at Earth. A generation grew up knowing only preparation, only training, only war. The barrier children, they called us. Now we have peacekeeping children, born into a military state, raised to serve. What happens to us when there are no more wars to fight? Mensa joined them on the observation deck. He was ancient now, kept alive by advanced medicine and stubborn will. We learn to live again, he said. We remember what we were fighting for in the first place. Do we? Diana asked. I have given orders that killed people, not many. We are good at non-lethal solutions, but some situations require lethal force. I have authorized it 17 times. 17 times I decided someone had to die so others could live. That changes you. Rolf understood. You fear you have become weapons instead of warriors. We fear we have forgotten the difference, Mensa said quietly. Movement on the planet below caught Diana's attention. Lights shifting, not military installations, cities, civilian centers, people living their lives. Earth's population is growing again, she noted. First time since the quarantine, people are having children, building homes, making art, living. They can do that because you keep them safe, Rolf pointed out. Or because we keep the galaxy afraid, Diana countered. 12 species requested our intervention this year, but 23 species refused to communicate with us at all. They fear us, not respect fear. The door opened. A young officer entered, barely 20 years old. Captain Worth, we have a situation. The Dravix Collective is massing forces on the Centauri border. Intelligence suggests they plan an invasion. Diana straightened immediately. The weariness vanished, replaced by tactical focus. Deploy Rapid Response Team 3, standard deterrence protocol. If they cross the border, we engage. Non-lethal if possible. Yes, ma'am, the officer left. Rolf watched the transformation. You do that very well. I have to, Diana said. People are counting on me, but someday this will end. Someday the galaxy will find peace without needing us to enforce it. What do we do then? Mensa smiled, a rare expression on his weathered face. We go home, we plant gardens, we write books. We teach the next generation how to prevent wars, not just end them. We become civilians again. Can we? Diana asked. After everything we have done, everything we have become. We have to, Mensa said. Otherwise the coalition was right to fear us. If all we can be is weapons, then we are dangerous. But if we can choose peace when we have the power to choose war, then we are something better. An alert chimed. The Dravix forces were pulling back from the border. They had detected Earth's response deployment and decided the invasion was not worth the cost. Another war prevented, Rolf observed. Another war delayed, Diana corrected. The Dravix will try again eventually, or someone else will. There is always another conflict, always another crisis. We can respond to all of them, but we cannot prevent all of them, not forever. Vera appeared on a communication screen. She was ancient too, her 3 eyes dim with age. Diana, I have the Coalition cultural exchange requests. 17 species want to host human delegations, not military, cultural. They want to learn about Earth, about our history, our art, our philosophy. Diana blinked in surprise. They want to know us, not fear us. Some do, Vera said. Not all, but some are starting to see past the weapons. They see the people who chose to help instead of conquer, who chose to rebuild instead of occupy, who chose to leave instead of stay. That means something. Rolf pulled up data on his personal display. Applications to Earth civilian academies have increased 300%. Other species want to study human culture. Not our military tactics, our music, our literature, our history. Why, Diana asked. Because we are interesting, Mensa said. We survived isolation. We built a civilization under pressure. We created art during preparation. We did not become just weapons. We became warriors with purpose. That is worth studying. Diana looked at Earth again, at the cities growing, at the ships launching. Not all military vessels now. Some were commercial, some were exploratory. Humans were starting to do more than fight. Admiral Hayes died last month, Mensa said quietly. He was 117. He lived to see everything he hoped for, Earth free, humanity respected, peace enforced. He died satisfied. Did he? Diana asked. He told me so 3 days before the end. He said we did good work, not perfect, but good. That is all anyone can ask. The communication alert chimed again. Another situation. The Braxton Republic was requesting assistance with a piracy problem. Not a war, not a genocide, just criminals disrupting trade routes. Should we respond? The duty officer asked. Diana considered. Earth Defense Force was designed for large-scale conflicts, for stopping wars, not chasing pirates, but help was help. Send a training team, she decided. Teach the Braxton how to handle it themselves. We stop wars, they can stop pirates. Mensa nodded approval. Teaching instead of doing, that is growth. Rolf checked his instruments. I need to file my weekly report with the Coalition. What should I tell them? Diana thought for a moment. Tell them Earth continues to fulfill its mandate. We respond to crises. We enforce peace. We prevent extinctions. But tell them also that we are beginning to remember how to be more than soldiers, how to be people. And if they ask when you will stop, Rolf pressed. Tell them never, Diana said firmly. As long as species need protection, we will provide it. As long as the strong prey on the weak, we will intervene. That is our purpose. But tell them also that we hope for the day when we are not needed, when the galaxy finds peace without needing us to deliver it. Mensa placed a hand on her shoulder. The god of war does not seek war. He seeks the end of war. That is what makes him just. Rolf prepared to leave. At the door, he paused. I have watched you for 5 years now, documented every action, every decision. I was there when the barrier fell. I was there. When you spoke to the Coalition, I was there when you saved the rendered. You want to know what I see? What? Diana asked. I see a species that was given every reason to become monsters. You were isolated, abandoned, feared. You had 50 years to grow bitter, to plan revenge. Instead, you planned to help. That is not what weapons do. That is what heroes do. He left. Diana stood silent for a long moment. Do you believe him? Mensa asked. I do not know, Diana admitted. But I know we have to try. We have to prove we can be both strong and kind, dangerous and compassionate, warriors and peacemakers. Otherwise, what was the point of the last 55 years? Below them, Earth turned through space. Beautiful, blue, home, not a fortress anymore, just a planet full of people trying to build something better than war. The alert chimed again. Another situation, another crisis, another chance to prove what humanity had become. Diana straightened her uniform. Let us get back to work. The god of war was not about destruction. He was about protecting those who could not protect themselves, and he would never rest as long as people needed him. That was the burden, that was the honor, that was the choice humanity made. And they would live with it, one saved life at a time.